Okay, welcome everyone. Really sort of excited to be here with you all today to have our fireside chat with one of our esteemed partners, Lovehoney. Thank you very much for joining us. Um, I have the pleasure of having Lovehoney's Global Affiliate Manager, Catherine Dunn, with us. Catherine, it's a great honor to have you with us for this session. And I know you're going to share some really interesting insights, both from Lovehoney and obviously from your own personal expertise and insights as well on what we're going to be discussing today. So thank you for joining us, Catherine.
Oh, my pleasure, Mumtaz. Always lovely to catch up with you guys, and thank you for inviting me.
Great. So just in terms of for the audience, just a bit of a structure information. We'll have our sort of fireside chat, and at the end of this, there will be a short Q&A as well. So we'll sort of have some time for that as well. So the theme for today was retaining customer loyalty in a changing world, which I think is a very on topic, if that makes any sense, because we've had a lot of things change this year. So without further ado, Catherine, I'm going to crack on with our first question. For your own organization, what customer demographic changes have you seen this year since the pandemic started, and as shopping behaviors have changed globally as well?
Yeah, so obviously it's been a really interesting year for everyone, hasn't it? And in the adult sector, we're seeing really strong growth and uplift in traffic searches. I think, our brand is really well placed to coincide with lockdown, because obviously our products are well suited to staying at home. So we've seen lots of growth, lots of new customers. We're seeing a considerable increase in female customers, especially in the younger Gen Z demographic. So potentially that could indicate that we're seeing increased destigmatization of sex toys across that sector, which obviously would be great. And, we're quite excited about all the new customers that we've seen come to Lovehoney. So we ran a lockdown survey, actually, when we had some interesting results from that. So 63% of Britons said sex was important to their overall health. A third agreed that sex had improved their mental health. 4 out of 10 said lockdown had improved the quality of their sex life, and almost half agreed lockdown had provided the opportunity to try new things in the bedroom. So our position of the week content has therefore grown in significance through lockdown, as you can imagine, as has traffic to our buyers' guides, with people researching new ways to have fun. And just a final insight from the lockdown survey, those unable to see their partners during lockdown saw their sex toy usage increase the most, so possibly not so surprising, but I think some interesting insights there to what's happening in lockdown in terms of our brand. And our mission during COVID crisis was to share learnings on how self-love can also help in terms of increased stress and worry. And it's really informed the content we run and exclusive offers for our key publisher groups as well for the affiliate channel.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you've really got everything covered. And I think I was saying to a colleague earlier that in terms of the demographics that you target, you do such a good job with the TV spots that you've also strategically bought to be placed in between programs, definitely aimed at younger audience as well. So that's really great to see. And then in terms of another question we have, what are some innovative customer loyalty strategies you have seen either before the pandemic or post-pandemic, and not necessarily just for Lovehoney, but anyone that any sort of retailer that you may have spotted doing really good?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm always a fan of brands that make life easy for their customers. So pre-lockdown, Amazon was obviously a call out with their Prime service, easy returns. I love quick delivery. It's always really appealing. So that's always great when brands offer it. I think Next deserve a mention because they've done similarly in terms of the delivery service and returns. During lockdown, I think B2B brands, a lot of them pivoted to B2C services when traditional business customers sadly closed their doors.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of those brands have identified a real value in direct connection to consumers,
Mm-hmm.
and have started building their own B2C communities. So that's really nice. So we saw a lot of changes with Google. They made significant changes to shopping and local results to help users solve their lockdown specific issues. So local inventory, collection points, physical distancing, reassurance messaging, all of those things, which were, all quite unique and new. And I think as we're easing out of lockdown, I've noticed that our local cinema they've introduced subscription models to re-engage with customers. So, pay X per year for unlimited visits. And I think that's a great way to stimulate in-person loyalty.
Absolutely, and it's interesting you mentioned there about the cinemas as well, because something else that we've been wondering as well is, do you think there's still an opportunity for offline store real estate to contribute towards customer loyalty strategies, whether they are clicks and mortar or mortar, bricks and mortar only?
Yeah, I think they do. So obviously it's a changing landscape, isn't it, on the high street? And I think there's been a decline in the recent years in people shopping on the high street, and where they're moving to shopping online. But I definitely think there's still a place, absolutely. But the trick is to add value, isn't it, to the customer? Because you may not be able to compete with the online prices, but it's the shopping experience you're giving your customers. So I think they need to find new ways to engage and to build that customer loyalty. But yeah, I absolutely do think there's still a place for them in the shopping mix, for sure.
Yes, and I think I was reading some articles recently about how people were saying that the high street of the future may become more of a experiential environment, not just for buying per se. And I think John Lewis, pre-pandemic, were looking at trialing whole floors in their sort of flagship department stores dedicated towards experiential living. Just sort of having the experience of, being in a John Lewis bathroom or bedroom, I guess. So it's quite interesting that be interesting to see what happens in the future as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, for some products, there's nothing like being able to see it and touch it, is there? I mean, many products online, it's fine, but for specific things, I think you always need to actually, I know that I do, so see it, what it looks like up close, what it feels like, how it works. So for big purchases, I think you need to still be able to go and have a look at them. And I think, experiential, I think that's exactly the way that the brands need to go. To make the shopping experience enjoyable, and that's what pulls in customers, isn't it? So they, not just the product, but something else as well. So like the big makeup counters, you can go and try, and you can't do that online. No. Even with the Vice and stuff, it's great, but sometimes you just want to see what it's like, don't you, and to try it. So I definitely think there's still a place for them.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's like the discovery side. So, like at least pre-pandemic, when you would go into department store, like you said about going to the makeup stores, often it'd be such a pleasurable thing to discover new beauty brands or new products that they have. And I guess if you're you're in the mode to buy a new car, you go to a car showroom, of course you're going to take it for a test drive first, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more fun really than being able to do that. So yeah, I definitely think so. I think there's still a place for the high street shops as well, but they, like everyone, we all have to adapt to the new world, don't we? So and what customers want, which is the key thing.
I think so. And then going back to Lovehoney, how are you adapting your approach towards acquiring new customers versus retaining current customers? Because I know, again, pre-pandemic, there's always been, generally across companies, there's a big focus on always getting a good level of new customers. But I guess, it's really important to look after your current set as well.
Yeah, I mean, both are really important, aren't they? Because yes, you absolutely want new customers, but there's no point in having new customers if you can't retain them. So both are equally important for us, and they're both focuses for our affiliate activity. So I think the increased interest we've seen in our sector and brand during lockdown didn't just drive performance; it fueled lots of new customer interest and new affiliate growth as well, which was really nice. So we've got new partners we can work with.
Amazing.
Yeah, so for new customers, we identify publishers and sectors that have strong new customer SKUs. So we put out some educational content to those SKUs during lockdown. So, for instance, how to choose your first vibrator, which resonates really well with new customers. And so our focus was entry-level products during the new customer push, because that's a key focus for new customers, as we know from our traffic and our internal stats. And demographics are always key for us. We analyze them to death to just see what everybody wants, what they're looking at, and how we can connect with them. But also using targeted affiliate partners, so CSS and bloggers come to mind. They're great for increasing new customer engagement and appeal. And also the cashback sector, we boosted new customer rates during lockdown to increase engagement there. So for retaining customers, really important is reinforcing our brand messaging. So sexual happiness for everyone, because Lovehoney is the brand known for sexual happiness. That's our logo. And so we engage with existing customers by running more content around leveling up. So for instance, leveling up your sex toy Lovehoney experience, moving from lingerie to sex toys, from sex toys to bondage, and from bullets to more advanced sex toys. Our buyer's guides on site are really influential for helping customers find what toy they want to choose next. So they're great for that. And again, demographics really important. We can see what customers are buying, what they're looking to buy next. And it helps to enable us to align pushes with our publisher demographics and target that engaged audience that, it's just key to everything really, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think it's really interesting the fact that you mentioned that even the cashback sites, which some people would assume it's mainly for existing customers, even the cashback sites have been able to help you with the new
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know. They just, people tend to think that cashback is existing customers, but that's not the case. They are definitely a pivotal area to look for new customers, because obviously, on those cashback sites, you might have customers who are interacting with a competitor. So they're obviously a great target for a new customer push, and I think boosting the cashback rates and having promotions and landing pages around products that they're interested in really helps. So again, coming back to those entry-level products, or maybe a lower spend offer, just to get their interest up. And for customer retention, we target the offers around the next level products, or possibly at an increased spend for their next purchase. So they work really well.
And I think I was going to ask you if you have seen the recency and frequency of purchases decline from your current customer set, but it sounds like you have had quite the opposite, right?
Yeah, that's very true. So yeah, happily we've not had that because the increased sort of fueled by a lockdown in the Lovehoney brand, and in the sector generally, has meant that we've not had that issue.
It's really, really great here. And then switching on to away from the new versus old, maybe onto the customer segments. And obviously, all companies will have an emerging segment they will want to target, as well as their older segment. So
Yeah.
The older segment being the Gen X, the maybe even some people might say millennials now. So how are you approaching maintaining loyalty from your older segments versus the emerging segments like the Gen Zs?
Yeah, so I think content's key. So we have a lot of expert content on Lovehoney, and it's accessible for all age groups, because the focus is on beginner, intermediate, expert levels, rather than being specifically age biased. I think the site has a core audience appeal, 24/7 award-winning customer service that appeals to all demographics, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it does particularly appeal to the older demographic, and that's something I know you picked up in your recent loyalty article. But a focus on easy delivery and returns is, it's been identified as appealing specifically to that more mature demographic. And it's something that's really key to Lovehoney is service and offering. So I feel we have that appeal to that audience. And we also, through the affiliate channel, we work with a broad mix of affiliate partners that engage well with an older demographic. So the loyalty, cashback sector again, that tends to have an older demographic skew. But we also have blog and content partners that are aimed at more mature audience. So, we try to engage with all demographics. Worth calling out, actually, we launched a new Tracy Cox range that's aimed at the older demographic audience. So I think that, that shows that Lovehoney has something for all ages and all expertise levels as well.
Absolutely. So I think that's really good because obviously your values are all about health and wellness and well-being. And I guess, it doesn't matter what stage in your life you're at, whether you are in your teens, late teens, early 20s, or in your 50s or 60s. It's a very important part of well-being to be happy and feeling well in yourself, right? So
absolutely
sense that you have, and it's great that you think about the products and the messaging for all the segments. That's fantastic.
Part of our branding is a fun and fulfilling sex life for everyone, and we do really literally mean everyone. So we hope we have something for all demographics that will be appealing. I mean, in terms of the younger demographic, we've got the O-Spot hub on site, so that engages well with them. So we saw 14% uplift in lockdown from the 18 to 34-year demographic, so lots of interest and lots of engagement from the student sector too. So our dedicated Uni Days partner, they experienced 5% uplift in conversions across all sectors during lockdown. So just to show you how much interest there was during lockdown generally, but specifically for our sector, it's obviously been really helpful to be have a service and products that's ideally suited to staying at home.
Absolutely, the stay at home economy, as some people
stay at home economy. It's true,
Absolutely. And then some questions, if I may ask, for your own experience. Do you think there is such a thing as customer loyalty anymore? And what would a retailer need to do to convince you as a customer to keep buying from them?
I think trust in the brand is really key, actually, because if you don't trust the brand, then you're not going to continue shopping with them, are you? So and added value, something that we talked about earlier. So it's not just about the products. Customers are very savvy these days, so they want something else. They want some type of added value. So whether it's easy delivery or it's lots of expert content to help you research your purchase. I know customer loyalty was a strong focus pre-lockdown, and there's a lot of debate around it and whether it does exist anymore. And if it does, whether you can possibly tap into it. I think Amazon with their Prime delivery service. I think they, pre-lockdown, they showed that actually there is such a thing as customer loyalty, because they, if anything, they increased it, as seen by their huge growth. And through lockdown, obviously, their performance was really, really strong. So I think you can arguably say that they've actually tapped into customer loyalty really well. And that's something that, other brands can model. I know at the Affiliate Summit Europe event recently, Mary Portas did a fantastic talk. And so it was amazing, wasn't it? And so she was talking about how brands can add value via education, ethics, and brand personality. And so, education is something that we're very focused on in terms of the content we put out. And, I feel, for the TV ads, Lovehoney has a very fun brand personality, and hopefully that comes across to everyone. And of course, we all want to be ethical brands, don't we? So
absolutely. So it sounds like, there is maybe still such a thing as customer loyalty, and maybe some brands like Amazon have really sort of captured part of that. And I guess it's that facet of being so easy to keep buying from. and
Yeah.
like the whole one-click purchase, the whole, they save the things in your basket. They already tell you what you ordered before, the Alexa stuff, so you can just shout to your Alexa, order me this or whatever. I guess all of this really helps them, I guess, in their sort of loyalty, their
Yeah.
market share and loyalty aspirations, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's it's all about added value, isn't it? It's because all those extra things are the
Mm.
things that keep you engaged and shopping with them, which
Yes.
obviously is the objective, isn't it? So in terms of Lovehoney, we have our own loyalty program for customers.
Mhm.
We have all the expertise and education we talked about. So we do that via our blog, our YouTube channel, and podcasts. So lots of great fun advice there, and we have more product reviews than any other adult retailer globally. So 277,000 and counting.
Oh wow, that's quite a lot. Wow.
It's a lot, yeah, but and they're very honest reviews. So it means that people can actually look and see whether the product is suited to them. So again, it helps with new customers finding the right product. But also with existing customers who want to level up to the next product level, they can see what other people have said, whether they like them. And following on from that, we recently relaunched our Lovehoney community site.
Okay.
So that's creating a global community of like-minded people so they can help one another make decisions, find new things to try. And so we believe all those things increase the value of our offering to customers, and that they do encourage loyalty because they are the added extras that we've been talking about.
Absolutely. And then one last question before we move to the Q&A. Could you tell us about a time when a retailer maybe lost your loyalty? You don't need to obviously mention the name, but like what happened, and what would make you consider buying from them again, if anything?
Yeah. So sadly, I do have one standout experience that is hard to forget. So, mentioning no names, I used a birthday service for a high street store a couple of years ago, but the experience went horribly wrong. So, the gift was for a close relative. They got nothing of their birthday and were very upset. And so, obviously, it wasn't a great experience, but the customer service follow up that we got was just awful. Um, it was just really bad. It took a lot of chasing on the emails and calls, and they didn't. I think it took me 3 months to get a refund, actually, just to illustrate how bad it was. And so obviously didn't get the gift. And the follow up service that I've received was so bad that I wouldn't use them again. I just
Wow.
wouldn't. So I think that underlines to me the value of having an amazing customer service team. So because had the follow-up experience been fine, if I'd been refunded quickly and they'd apologized, I'd have probably used it again. But because it was so awful, there's just no way I would actually ever try it again. There was nothing about the experience that encouraged me to think it would ever get any better or it was worth trying it again. And I was talking to a colleague who has internet with one of the big providers, and so his internet got knocked out by a crazy lightning storm,
Okay.
which was it's just an accident. It's not too terrible, but his internet was down for 10 days, which he could have lived with, but he was promised lots of engineer visits that never happened. He got no refund for any of it, and so again, it was the customer service was so bad it's made him vow he'll never use them again.
Wow.
So yeah, so I think in short, things go wrong, but that doesn't necessarily breed customer disloyalty. It's how you deal with it and what you follow up. That's the thing that loses customers. So if you do that badly, then you probably won't get that customer back.
Yeah, it's such a shame, isn't it? That sounds like in your example, the company didn't even try to do a follow-up to find out, even a month later to find out, oh look, we noticed you haven't been shopping with us. Is there anything we can do? And that's so disappointing, isn't it? And
Yeah,
because I think lapsed customers would be such a gold mine as well for retailers. So
yeah,
you
no,
don't really
absolutely.
it. Um,
Yeah,
what a shame.
yeah, it is. I mean, things go wrong sometimes. That's one thing, but how you deal with that is the key thing for customers. I think. I think very few customers, if they got a good follow-up, positive experience, would never shop with that brand again. I'm sure they would,
Yeah,
but if you do both things really badly, then they're very unlikely to keep shopping with you. And it's great to have new customers, but you've got to be able to retain them. And if you can't do that, then, it's not good.
Absolutely. I think there is the saying, isn't there, that it costs more to acquire a new customer
Yeah.
than keep your existing base happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because if, in both examples, if you'd had a positive experience, then that probably would have given customer loyalty, because I certainly would have tried it again, because it was, I liked the idea. It was a great service, which is why I was trying to use it in the first place. And in terms of like ongoing services like internet providers, if you give good customer service, then, people are much more likely to stay with you and not shop around for better deals.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So now we will switch to the Q&A. I think we have a couple of questions already. So I think the first question is from someone who wants to know, obviously the pandemic and the lockdown has benefited some of these smaller businesses, some of the SME retailers. So they may have won quite a few new customers, especially when like larger retailers, I guess, could not cope with the demand. We saw this with everyone from like Waitrose to Sainsbury's. But I think the question from the audience is, how loyal do you think those customers may be as people eventually return to some sort of normality?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's hard to say, but I think in lockdown, people found new priorities and new providers. So, one example is we used to shop at supermarkets, mostly in person, sometimes online. But in lockdown, especially at the beginning, I know lots of people, and, I was one of them, struggled to get availability for supermarket delivery slots. So we switched to buying local, directly from our local producers. And I think, and it's certainly true for us, because we did that. We switched to a really good local fruit and veg provider. And so the higher quality of the products and the fantastic service, delivered to our door, and as well as the supporting the local economy, I think a lot of us are going to stick with those local producers, because, until we were forced to use them, we didn't realize what we were missing. And then once we found how good they were, and we're supporting the local economy, I think lots of people are going to stick with those types of services. Certainly hope so, because, it's great for the local and small suppliers, isn't it, and the smaller businesses.
Absolutely. And I think this is what some people are saying, that it's created like this whole community marketing, hasn't it? So
Yeah.
this whole situation that, everyone is, more caring. It's a caring economy as well. Like everyone is trying to help local suppliers and buy from them and things like that as well.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess every cloud does have a silver lining.
I guess that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably true in this case. Yeah.
And we have one more question from the Q&A. So someone is asking, is as we go through this evolving landscape, is collaboration with complementary brands also something that companies can use to engender further customer loyalty?
Yeah, I think, if you've got complementary brands, then yeah, absolutely. Here at Lovehoney, we're always open to new partnerships and collaborations. We're always, through the affiliate channel, we're always exploring new partners and new ways of working. So we're totally open to that. And I think brands have to be. It comes back to adding value, doesn't it, to the customer experience and engendering customer loyalty. I think it's definitely something that brands should look to explore, for sure. And I know that we do here at Lovehoney. So obviously, because we're adult sector and niche, we may not have as many opportunities as potentially other brands. But yeah, for sure, I absolutely think that's a worthwhile thing.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Yeah, I think, everything from, I guess, when you go to a supermarket, you go to the cafe, they might have certain items at the till, or even in H&M nowadays, I see this as well. They people are always featuring other people's brands as well, if they work for them as well. I think I get the Baujken catalogue, and she always features brands that she's, items she likes from other companies as well. It's really interesting how people do things in a different way.
Yeah, I think that's true, and yeah, that's a great brand. I love that brand. But yeah, I think if it works with your brand, then why wouldn't you explore that for sure? So I've definitely seen a huge increase in that with brands doing exactly what you said, and I think the more new opportunities you explore, the more potential for growth there is. So it seems a bit of a no-brainer, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the more sort of brand partnerships and, that you can sort of acquire, and whether they work as affiliates or not, in the end, it helps everyone, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, and I know, working with you guys, I know you're great for sharing new partnership opportunities. So, and we always love to hear about them.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you very much for that nice comment there about Webgains as well. I think we are. I think we are sort of now going to close down this session. I just want to say thank you, Catherine, for spending the time with us to have this fireside chat. I think I picked up some really good insights from you, and I'm sure the audience did as well. And just want to say thank you to the audience as well for tuning in and listening to the session. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and I hope everyone stays safe as we return to some sort of normality. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Montez.